Story 1. I don't put myself out there because I feel I have nothing to offer. I'm not very attractive, I'm disabled, and I'm broke. Story 2. I need to work on my own happiness a bit first. Story 3. I get too much attention to say it is my looks. It must be my personality that sucks. Laughing out loud. Story 4. A lack of trust that love can be exchanged mutually and defined the same way by both partners. Story 5. My appearance and personality. Jokes aside, I have stepped away from it for a while because I have had some awful women in my life. The long and short of it is that if I improve myself, I may find myself in the company of better women. Story 6. I am almost 40. I was married and I have a child. I had a house and a great job, but she wanted to have sex with an Australian couple instead of comforting me when my brother died. I am done with relationships. Story 7. The reason I am single right now is that my former partner could not handle people making negative comments about us being together. I have dwarfism and other conditions that people see as making me undateable, so they cannot fathom the idea of anyone else wanting to date me and cannot handle that pressure. Story 8. I don't go out or interact with other people very much. I don't know how to get a girlfriend. Do you just walk up to a random woman on the street and ask, "Do you want to be my girlfriend?" Story 9. My amazing husband passed away, and I don't think anyone else can ever come near to being as wonderful as he was. Once you've had the perfect one, you don't want to settle for less. Story 10. I think I am ugly and boring. I do not have any hobbies that help me meet new people. Story 11. Yes. The reason is that I am a slightly overweight introvert with no friends or social life, and I do not drink. Story 12. They often feel deeply misunderstood or find it difficult to understand one another. Story 13. Short, broken, unattractive, unresolved computed tomography. Story 14. I remain inactive because I am unhappy with myself and let insecurities justify that inaction. Story 15. Because I choose to be. Been there, done that. Relationships always make my life worse. Story 16. For me, it is about enjoying my independence and making sure I am complete on my own before sharing my life with someone else. Story 17. My dark sense of humor and the smell of the bodies in my basement. Story 18. My previous relationships did not work out, and trying to date as a child-free person over 40 means dating options are few in my area. I am perfectly happy on my own and will not settle for someone I do not want. Story 19. A combination of reasons includes being average-looking, not knowing many single women, not knowing where to start with online dating, and having no interest in children, which at my age rules out a large part of the dating pool. Story 20. I tried to get in the good graces of a girl once. It did not work out, and I have not since met a girl who I like enough to try again. Also, I am ugly. Story 21. Lack of confidence. If I do not think I am attractive enough, how will anyone else? Story 22. I am a 40-year-old man. I have two problems. 1. I am only attracted to women who either have personality disorders or display characteristics of personality disorders, specifically narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder. This is due to having a mother who most likely had undiagnosed borderline personality disorder. It is not that I cannot recognize what I am doing. I have not figured out how to stop being attracted to the toxicity and dismissiveness these women bring. 2. I spent my 30s in therapy to overcome my lack of self-worth. I now love myself and will not tolerate poor treatment. When the women described an item 1 switch from love bombing to manipulation, dismissiveness, and a lack of accountability, I give them one chance to make things right and then I end the relationship. Story 23. I self-sabotage. I avoid going out and have not healed from past trauma. I am currently in therapy, but I am very afraid that I will always feel afraid. Story 24. For me, there are a few main reasons. I do not really go out anymore because I am back in school for pre-med and also working full-time. Dating apps are bad where I live, and nearly all of my relationships have been with people I met in real life or with whom I already had mutual friends. I went through a very unexpected heartbreak earlier this year, and I am honestly just tired. Laughing out loud. Story 25. My standards are high, and I will not settle. I have seen friends with high standards find partners who meet them. If I am meant to marry someone, he will not be perfect, but he will meet my standards. Story 26. I am not sexually attracted to half of the population, which reduces my options. I live in the South, so being openly lesbian is not recommended. Story 27. I am not looking for a relationship right now. I do not approach people and they do not approach me. Story 28. There are too many issues, not just on my end but on the men's side. Where I'm from, most people either do not know what they want, are gay, or are married. Some men fetishize a specific race. If I do not fit that criterion, I give up before trying because I know I will waste both my time and his. I want someone who is genuinely into me and not someone who considers me a backup plan when something else does not work out. I also think that, because of my age, most men want someone younger. Being a single mother is an issue for some men, I suppose. I am already burned out, so it is whatever at this point, laughing out loud. If I happen to click with someone, that is good. If not, that is okay. I do not put myself out there anymore. My last date was terrible, so I have been away from dating apps for now. I have not tried to meet anyone at bars either. When I go out for an occasional drink, I just indulge in the food myself. Story 29. I genuinely don't know. I don't think I'm ugly. I'm talented and kind. People say I'm not annoying. Maybe it's because I'm anxious all the time and too scared to ask anyone out. Story 30. People can be disappointing, and I love too hard, so others take advantage of that. Story 31. I don't make enough money. It is not that I think people are gold diggers, but why date someone who makes a certain amount of money when you could date someone who makes 4 times or 8 times that amount? Life is expensive, and most people at least want to make enough to get by. If you're dating someone, the objective is not just to date, but to hopefully find someone long-term. If you make 4 times as much as them, you have to lower your overall quality of life to stay with them because your combined income is not enough for 2 people to get by. Even if it is enough, you are still lowering your quality of life. If you date someone who makes the same amount, you might get to go on a vacation once a year and eat out a couple of times a month. For some people, even that is not enough. They would want to go on dates or eat out multiple times a week, which requires a higher income. Until I hit a certain threshold, I have taken myself out of the dating pool. Hopefully I will get back in one day, but it does not look feasible. Story 32. At my age, experience and reason have finally triumphed over hope. A second marriage is often the triumph of hope over experience. Samuel Johnson. Also, men in my age bracket are mostly demented or dead. Story 33. I do not embody the ideal I wish to portray, and I am not one for trauma bonding or flings. Story 34. I have a good groove going right now, and as a single dad I would be accepting someone who is only settling for me, which is no fun. Story 35. I prioritize physical attraction too much, but I cannot help it. Story 36. Maybe I'm too demanding, but I don't like any girl at the moment. I find many girls attractive, but only physically, not for their personalities. Story 37. I only attract pieces of shit. Someone would say, you attract what you are, or you accept the love you think you deserve. That said, I am not taking risks any longer and am minding my fucking business alone. Story 38. Right now it is by choice. I am taking a break after my most recent relationship and have usually been the one to initiate the breakups. I suppose it comes down to not having met the right person yet. Story 39. I do not believe I am worthy of love, which leads to a lack of effort in finding and nurturing relationships. Story 40. Personal choice. I'm open to dating, but I'm recently out of a long-term marriage. I've been doing some self-work and dating casually, but nothing substantial. Story 41. I have high standards and people think I'm a little weird. I don't feel normal. Story 42. When I went out, I had the chance to date some guys, but at that time dating was not my priority. It has never been, to be honest. Because it is not. I do not read between the lines to figure out if a guy likes me. If a guy likes me, he would have to say it out loud. I treat every guy as a friend. I will ask a guy out if I really like him, but that would have to be a rare instance because dating is not a priority for me. Now that I do not go out as much, I will not be able to meet someone new, and I am happy with that as well. Story 43. I am no longer exciting or dangerous. I was a hardcore alcoholic for years. During that time, I was never alone. I always had women reaching out and making the effort to talk to me in public. From the second I got sober, that all immediately vanished. I have not had anyone express the slightest interest in me in years. I lost close to 50 pounds in a few months just from not drinking. I stopped vomiting constantly and I was not sweating all the time. Things you would think would make me more attractive, but the opposite happened. Back then, I literally exuded confidence and did not care what I said to anyone. Women like that, but being that comfortable while sober is difficult. It takes a serious amount of effort not to care and to be genuinely relaxed. It is worth noting that I was completely upfront with women I talked to. I would say flat out, before we go any further, you should know I have a serious drinking problem. You would think that would be a deal breaker, but it was not. I stopped drinking. I lost weight. I became polite and stopped crudely hitting on strangers or being inappropriate right away. My skin and eyes became healthy again. Toward the end, they had been a sickly yellow-gray color from liver failure. All of this made me less attractive. The only thing I can figure is that women liked the psycho, the dangerous guy. I am honestly no less weird now. I just respect the times and places for things. Story 44. I am blind and, honestly, mentally unstable. I do not know whether people are put off by my mental health issues or by my disability. Story 45. The dating pool is relatively small for me because I do not want children. Story 46. I developed massive trust and self-confidence issues after being cheated on and dumped by my girlfriend of 11 years last year, when I had been sure she was the one. Story 47. Unnecessary false beliefs. Now I feel like a loser, but at least I'm attractive and could be a boy toy. Story 48. I'm entirely too self-aware of my personality defects. I'm unreasonably possessive, and for that reason I keep women at arm's length and turn them down if they push for anything. Story 49. I am not looking for anything. My life is stable and I do not want to compromise it. Story 50. I am not really trying right now. I have other things to worry about. It would be great to have a romantic partner, but I do not think I could keep it up. Story 51. I do not know. I have only been single for brief periods since I was about 13. Laughing out loud. Story 52. I am not finding the right person for myself. I thought I had found someone. We were both amazed by our compatibility and mindset, but things became very ugly because he has a fearful avoidant attachment style. Now I lack trust in my judgment. Story 53. I'm not ready to be loved. I honestly don't feel like I want to date. Not pursuing it has made it easy to avoid the fact that I'm scared of actually experiencing that kind of love. Story 54. I am broke, with no job, no car, and no place of my own. Even if I had those things, I probably would not date because of how women are today. Trust no one. Story 55. My standards are the bare minimum, and even that is too difficult for some, so they would rather walk away. It is painful for a day or two, but much better for me in the end. Story 56. I am not looking in the places that matter. To change this, I plan to volunteer at my local aquarium because I genuinely like marine biology. Story 57. I think it is a mix of things. Part of me really enjoys my own space. I like doing my own thing without having to check in with someone all the time. I have definitely gone through a phase of picking the wrong person, all red flags and no logic. Story 58. I'm pretty complicated and not the best boyfriend a girl could wish for. I'm generally not that romantic, and I don't like giving people power over me. Needless to say, that's a bit of a problem in a romantic relationship. I tried making up for it with my looks. It seems that this just attracts more people but does not keep any. Who would have thought? So yes, I'm not sure whether I should keep trying or give up and just pay for it. I don't want to hurt anyone anymore. Story 59. I literally have zero chill. I do not let people talk to me or treat me a certain way, and I always communicate my feelings to them. You all do not understand how difficult this has been in relationships. I am not someone who buries my feelings only to resent a partner. Story 60. Dating and courting seem very expensive endeavors. I want to become financially stable and focus on my personal growth. Once I figure things out a bit more and have my finances sorted, I'll probably venture into the dating pool. Story 61. I lack the social skills to meet and interact with people. This is honestly fine because I am content in my singleness. Story 62. I feel too old, as if I have aged out of love. I dated, but no man wanted a forever relationship. I was also cheated on, and I am still not sure what that was about. I wish the younger women well. Story 63. My life is just kind of a mess right now, and I do not feel that a woman should have to put up with a man in the position I am in. I am almost 30 and starting over. I do not really have the time or the money to invest in someone. That is not to say I will be single forever. It is just not the right thing for me to be focusing my attention on right now. Story 64. I will not let myself date anyone until I am more financially stable, have my own place, and have a car. I am 23, broke. I live at home, and I cannot drive. It is embarrassing to live like this, and it is worse to have someone I like see it and be put off by me. Story 65. I refuse to put myself out there anymore after being treated so badly by so many. I would rather be alone than be trampled on again. I'm sorry you're feeling this way. Are you safe right now? If you are thinking about harming yourself or are in immediate danger, please call emergency services now. In the United States, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are outside the United States, contact your local emergency number or a local crisis line. I can help you find support if you want. Story 66. I chose them. They never chose me back. I gave up and now glide through the rest of my time here. I don't know whether someone is sincere or making me the butt of a joke. So I move onward. Story 67. I am completely socially maladjusted, a shut-in working for minimum wage, and I still live with my mother at 24. Story 68. Mostly apathy. For me, at least, being alone does not mean being lonely. Story 69. Oh shit. Where to begin? I guess a big reason is that my standards are unrealistic or too high. Story 70. When my ex and I met, we were very good for each other. Now we are not. It is time for us to move on so we can both grow the way we need. Divorce was not on my bingo card, but I have grown to be okay with it. Change is hard. It took me a while to process and adapt. I am okay. It is for the best. I have made peace with this and with many relationships ending. I am still somewhat shocked that I am 44 and divorced. Age comes faster than you think. It is strange to experience my identity shifting to someone older and divorced. I used to feel young and cool. From 36 to 44 there was so much crisis, both personal and collective, that I am only now catching up to the mental reflection of being this age and how that changes many dynamics in my life. 44. When did that happen? Laughing out loud. Story 71. I am asexual. I am a man who no longer finds women sexually attractive, though I still find them aesthetically attractive. I am 40, and the idea of making out or groping a woman, or her groping me, seems ridiculous. I have done it hundreds, if not thousands, of times. Seems silly now. I am a grown man. That is childish. Story 72. After my divorce, the freedom I have right now is liberating. Story 73. My husband passed away last month. I am not ready to get back out there, and I do not think I ever will. I will stay single because there will never be another one like him. Story 74. I quit drinking and still have not learned how to socialize while sober. I do not want anything to do with people who drink anymore. I do not judge those who do. It was very bad for me personally. I cannot relate to people who have always been sober. I do not want to be with people who are not already committed to sobriety, as the first 2 years involve many adjustments. Dating men who are still living that life is no longer enjoyable for me. Story 75. Many reasons. My perceived lack of personality and my weight. I lost a lot of weight in the past year, so it will not be a problem for much longer. I also do not really know how to socialize. I have a lot of work to do if I ever want to find a partner. Story 76. My last relationship hurt me so badly that my heart is not as open to women as it used to be. Story 77. 2 bad marriages, 2 divorces and problems with mothers-in-law. Story 78. It seems that I am lacking whatever makes men fall in love with women. I can attract men easily, and often it seems like we are close to becoming serious, but then they always end up choosing someone else every single time. Every man has told me the same thing, that I do not seem to have feelings for them or that I do not like them as much as they like me. This does not only apply to my love life. Friends and family have also told me that I do not seem emotional. I actively try to improve each time. I say how much I like them, I initiate, I do kind things, but for whatever reason I come across as emotionless or as if I am pretending. Story 79. I do not meet the standards and expectations that women have for a man. Story 80. I am in college out of state and the man I want to date lives in my hometown. He does not want a long-distance relationship, and I do not want to date anyone else. My first boyfriend ruined my idea of what relationships should be like. So I have to remind myself that it is normal for someone I care about to not physically hurt me or constantly demand my attention. Story 81. I honestly have zero interest in being in a relationship. I find them draining and stifling. I have no interest in being a second mother to a grown man. Story 82. Largely because I'm socially awkward, I tend to go to social spaces where most people are men or lesbians, such as Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and gaming events. I tried once or twice, but I'm not the flirty type and I have trouble reading social cues. I'm more the type to talk about the subject I'm enthralled with for several hours and hope someone finds it interesting. I'm learning that few people find that attractive. I have plenty to occupy my time, so it's not the worst thing, but it would be nice to have someone. Story 83. I definitely do not put myself out there much. I am a 23-year-old man attending college as well, so I am not in the best financial position to support another person. Of course, if a special someone came along, I would absolutely make sacrifices. I just have not met anyone worth making those sacrifices for yet. Being single is not terrible either. I have more time for myself and most of my hobbies are solo activities. I play video games such as action, horror, and shooter games. I play drums, I lift weights, and I study Korean in my free time. Unless she plays the same games, plays guitar or sings, works out, or speaks Korean, we would not be able to do many of my hobbies together. Story 84. I enjoy solitude. It is not fair to the other person to have the title of relationship when you are an introvert and a loner. Relationships also stress me out because you have to compromise so much. I enjoy coming home and being the only person here. I value my peace. I am set in my ways and do not want the title of being a couple. I have been there and did not like it in any of my past relationships. No ill feelings. My ex of 12 years is like my best friend. I hope he finds a good woman because he is a good man. Story 85. My ex-wife blew all our money, and I will never do that again. Story 86. I found an amazing woman who raised my standards so much. Now that she is gone because she moved away, I fear I will never find another like her. Story 87. I am fat and ugly. I have been told I am too much for people. I have some health issues too. Story 88. Not leaving my house makes it difficult to meet people. I am autistic. Story 89. I could say that it is because I am ugly and overweight, or because I am asocial, or even because I do not have a lot of money. All those things are true. However, if I am honest with myself, those reasons are just excuses. The real reason is that deep within I am simply not interested in having a relationship. I have never even tried because I do not have a real, compelling motivation, other than curiosity or sometimes feeling pressure that I am missing out, to be in a relationship. Story 90. My husband died in 2023, and I don't have the energy for dating. If Lady Fate wants me to try dating again, she will have to drop him in my lap. Story 91. Hookup culture has affected me. In my last relationship, my partner used hookup apps behind my back, so I'm still dealing with that. The ease of cheating with just one click makes it hard for me to trust someone. Story 92. I'd rather have a deep connection with someone than jump into a relationship head-on. Friends have told me I'm delusional. Story 93. A white man once told me that my race is not considered attractive in the suburbs of New York. So I guess that's it, honestly. Story 94. I feel ugly and overweight, and I spend 90% of my life indoors. But the doctor ordered me to start going to the gym, so there may be hope, but I doubt it. Story 95. I have not put forth the effort to actually meet someone. I work a demanding yet well-paying job, go to the gym and run 4 days a week, and enjoy video games and weekend hangouts with friends. It is a simple, low-stress, enjoyable existence. Unless someone compliments how chill I am, the stress and expectations do not seem worth it. Story 96. In my younger days, I trusted every woman who was part of my life. I no longer trust them. I will never be alone in a room with a woman. It is too risky. I want witnesses. Story 97. I just feel like a loser. Most of my weight is in my stomach. I have muscles, but I do not feel attractive. I am unhappy with my face. I am too shy, laughing out loud. Story 98. Preference. I have many interests that a wife or girlfriend would reject in 30 seconds. My artistic tastes are not sufficiently normal for me to meet someone who could share all of them, and I know she would resent being left alone while I pursued my own projects. I like theater, but I prefer experimental theater. Because I grew up going to one started by a trio of men who had studied in Germany and embraced the Regia theater aesthetic. I also have a strong interest in early modern English drama, including Shakespeare and his contemporaries, which is another very niche taste. I love classical music, especially early music, medieval, Renaissance and Baroque, opera, and modern classical music of the 20th and 21st centuries. Finally, I enjoy classic films, independent films, and foreign language films, and I go to the cinema at least once every 1 or 2 weeks. Even when I do not go out, I often stay in with something unusual. For example, I might spend 3 hours one evening watching the Dmitry Chernyakov staging of Alban Berg's opera Lulu with Marlis Peterson and Bo Scovis, which I like so much that I bought the digital versatile disc. Any woman who did not appreciate modern opera as much as I do would justifiably feel alienated by not being able to join me. Also, because I cannot always indulge my tastes locally, I often take day trips to other cities for performances and screenings. So my partner would not only be left alone for a couple of hours, I might be gone for the rest of the day. The last time I went to Los Angeles, for example, was to see a production of Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. I left at 3 in the afternoon and did not get home until 3:30 in the morning. Admittedly, I could have arrived home 2 hours earlier, but I was so tired on the drive back that I thought it safer to pull into the Aliso Creek rest area off Interstate 5 and nap for a bit. That does not include the less frequent but occasional times I fly across the country or abroad to attend a festival, opera, play, or concert. Next month, I will be at the Donaueschinger Musiktage 2025 for 4 days, October 16th to 19th, 2025. What partner would accept being left alone for that length of time? Story 99. A conscious, deliberate choice, followed by a fight to stay single. People are addicted to coupledom and codependence. Not me. I will share a cell when I have to, not while I can be free. Story 100. I live in the southern United States, and I do not want to date anyone who already has 5 children. Also, my idea of a good time does not involve rolling around in the mud or killing animals. I hate it here. Story 101. I'm sorry you're feeling this way. Are you safe right now? If you are in immediate danger, call emergency services right away. In the United States, call or text 988. In the United Kingdom, call Samaritans at 116-123. If you are elsewhere, contact local emergency services or a local crisis line and reach out to someone you trust. I loved someone, but they did not love me back. I am done. It was extremely painful. Story 102. I am single because my girlfriend broke up with me on Friday after 2.5 years. Her life is going through many changes and she cannot find the time to be there for a significant other. Sigh. Story 103. Location. Small town of 7,000 in a remote part of Tennessee. Replacing it with a large city of 600,000 or more in 2 weeks. Story 104. I do not meet the physical characteristics that women are generally attracted to. I am a single dad. The few people I get to date often do not stick around because I try to be a good dad to my children, and that does not go over well since 2 of them live with me full-time. Story 105. I never had a chance to meet anyone after high school. I went to a technical university which was mostly men, and I work mostly with men. I prefer reading a book or going to the swimming pool or running rather than going to parties. I do not drink, which is unacceptable in my country. I am treated like a criminal. Women have sky-high expectations. I am 26, tall and fit, have many passions, and I hold a master's degree in electrotechnics. I received scholarships, have worked for 6 years in my field, and saved enough money for a flat. Yet the women I have tried to date treat me as a worthless loser. Story 106. I became tired of sacrificing myself and cleaning up after people who will not even give me a hug when I am sad. I started dressing like a boy, stopped shaving, and walking like a man so everyone thinks I am gay and will not make a pass at me. Story 107. Really difficult to say, to be honest. I am a 36-year-old man, and I have never had a relationship. If I reflect on my behavior as best I can, I believe I am sometimes a bit insecure at an unconscious level. Considering it is 2025, when 99% of women only want the top 5% of men, I immediately become a living red flag. I cannot think of any other reason. I am short and bald, only 1.68 meters tall. I am mostly a nice guy. I am probably awkward or something. I really do not know. Story 108. For a very long time, I never tried to find anyone. I have had self-esteem issues most of my life and repeatedly talked myself out of dating by saying my scars and birthmarks would make me too unattractive for anyone to seriously desire and that it would only be pity. Maybe it is true and maybe not, but I am done telling myself it will not work, and who knows, someone might actually like the way I look. Story 109. I believe women are not interested in men, so I wait for a woman to show interest in me. That has never happened, and I do not feel comfortable approaching someone who clearly has no interest. Story 110. I am very specific about where I am going in life. I do not plan on compromising. Story 111. Wouldn't it be easy to assume that people are single because they want to be? That view frames the situation from a victimhood perspective, as if society forced the outcome. It did not. Being single is your choice. Story 112. Mostly it's by choice and the walls I've built. I would rather have friends. Long-term relationships don't happen for me because I have not pursued them after a few. I often enjoy solitude. Company is great too, but I usually prefer the former. Story 113. I believe the reason I am single is that I lack confidence in myself. I always tell myself that I am ugly and that no one will love me genuinely. I have tried 6 times, but it has not worked out. People always leave me for various reasons. Someone else confesses to them and they replace me quickly because I am far away. Others give up because I do not have the bad boy vibe they want. I am aromantic at the moment because I do not believe in love anymore. Story 114. I do not want to do anything. It is all just too crowded. Story 115. For a while I was either not interested or did not put myself out there. Now I am not that interesting. Story 116. I choose to be single because I don't want to force anything. I have seen many people enter relationships out of loneliness rather than mutual attraction. Story 117. I am an introvert. I cannot talk for more than 5 minutes when it is just the 2 of us. Story 118. I have standards that must be met, but I have been hurt so many times that I am wary of opening up again, even if someone met all my requirements. It feels pointless to try when I will likely be hurt again. Story 119. I hang out with my friends at their houses, laughing out loud. Unfortunately, they do not have many single male friends who are worthy. Story 120. I have not found the right person. I have gone on plenty of dates and believe I am attractive, independent, smart, have my own place and pay all the bills, have a job, and am social, but nothing has quite felt right or worked out. Here is to trying until I burn out or settle, I guess. Story 121. I can't find the right man. Whenever a man looks at one woman, he immediately looks at the next when she passes by, and it keeps repeating. Story 122. I want to heal because I need to and because I am terrible at choosing the right men. Story 123. I am not actively looking for a partner. I have more urgent and vital things to do. Story 124. I ruin what could be a good connection by pushing people away because I do not feel worthy of their attention or time. Story 125. I tell myself I am not in the right state of mind and need to sort some things out and work on myself. But I am not doing any of that. I have not gone on a date in roughly 15 years. In the last 5 years, I have been more or less isolated. At this point, I do not even know what I would do. In several ways, I was never really comfortable in relationships, which is part of working on myself. Often it felt like I had to take care of the other person. Instead of being my most relaxed and true self, it felt like I had to be on my best behavior. But I do crave it. I feel very alone. Story 126. I am not looking for a significant other. I am very happy being single. Story 127. I have depression, body dysmorphia, and a range of confidence issues. Dating and hookup culture is an absolute shit show, and I am just not built for it, but oddly I am at peace with that now. Story 128. Having a congenital breast deformity makes it hard for me to feel sexy or to approach a man. I feel like a disappointment because I do not look like what people expect a woman to look like. I tend to dress like a tomboy to hide my body, and I do not embrace the femininity that matches my heart. I do not mean to make anyone who is physically different feel bad. I am just describing how I unfortunately see myself. Story 129. Trauma from previous relationships. I am mentally done with dating. I am discovering how to be happy on my own. I greatly enjoy traveling alone. I have hobbies I prefer over spending time with women. Story 130. I tried and gave up. No one I dated felt the same way I do about relationships. I believe in partnership and compromise, but most people wanted their way or nothing. Story 131. Recently, I asked someone out who I was pretty sure was into me. They praised me even behind my back. Mutual friends told me this after I was rejected. I cannot say for certain why. Right now, I am recovering from the setback and have not put myself back out there yet. Story 132. My introversion is winning out between my desire for personal time and my wish to spend time with someone somewhat regularly. Story 133. I am far too selfish to devote my time to anyone else when it comes to romance. Story 134. I have dated so many wrong men that I refuse to date until I find one who is soft, sweet, and kind. Story 135. It was a bad mix. Being shy, constantly second-guessing whether someone was just being polite or genuinely attracted to me, and discovering that those who were overly forward later had serious mental health issues. Story 136. I want someone to explore city streets and parks with, not just stay in bed. I am often drawn to sex, but only when I am conversing with someone and want to do what I mentioned above. Story 137. My former partner destroyed my ability to love. Being an escort ruined casual sex. Agoraphobia keeps me inside 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Story 138. I prefer to live by myself and do not find any form of relationship appealing. Story 139. Because I do not want a partner. I am 25 and have been single my whole life, and I plan to stay that way. I have met people who expressed interest in me, but I cannot be bothered with a relationship. Single life is too comfortable. Story 140. People want their own version of who you should be, and nobody truly wants the authentic you as you are. Story 141. I am ugly. I also do not want a relationship. I can barely handle myself. I do not want to worry about another person I might forget exists at any point during the day. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder sucks. Story 142. For me, it is a choice. I often meet really nice and interesting people, but I just cannot commit to a relationship. I need a lot of personal time. Story 143. I need to be single for a while. I need to like myself before I can like somebody else. I am getting into watch repair. Story 144. Other than the fact that I never go out, I am socially awkward and it takes me time to warm up to people. I tend to attract love bombers. It is great at first, but then I get overwhelmed and shut down. I am not the type of person who can handle a relationship that requires constant attention. I am content just existing in the same room as someone. That is enough for me. I have essentially become my cat. Story 145. I seem to be attracted only to emotionally unavailable people. Story 146. I swore off dating apps. I work from home, so I spend a lot of time inside my apartment. I don't have friends or family who can set me up. I don't go out much, and when I do, I lack the nerve to approach women in public. I don't put myself in situations where I can meet people. It's hard to date someone if you don't put yourself out there. Story 147. I do not go out much. I only asked one person out, a longtime friend. I think they wanted more. There may have been potential for a relationship later. Making plans was hard. I did not think much of it at the time, but after some recent experiences, I decided we can be friends, and I am done trying to plan activities. If you snooze, you lose. I will find someone better. Story 148. I gave up. Now I am kind of glad it worked out the way it did. I feel like I skipped a lot of really painful experiences. I tried repeatedly and I am over it. I am older now and the yearning for romantic love has left the building. I am not completely pessimistic about it, but I know so few couples who restore my faith in the process. I have had plenty of therapy for various reasons, and frankly I own the fact that I perhaps was not a great candidate for a relationship. I never really met a man I loved and trusted enough to make such a large commitment. There were many factors on my side and with past potentials as well. I have been doing hair since 1995, and I can tell you most married clients do not have many positive things to say about the whole endeavor. I am one of those hairdressers who has very personal relationships with clients and they tell me everything, sometimes things that are inappropriate for me to know. Admirable couples do exist, but they are rare. In retrospect, I am pleased I did not buy into the absolutely have to get married and have kids messages that were pumped into my brain from girlhood onward. People who enter an intense life commitment with a spouse, children, a mortgage, and a lifestyle without being introspective and respectful about it often have unfortunate outcomes. They become disappointed, worn out, and traumatized by the sunk cost fallacy. I have been listening to a lot of podcasts about this, and Diary of a CEO with James Sexton confirmed many of my thoughts and fears. I do not know that I care enough at this point to read his book, but if I ever stick my toe back in the pool again, I will definitely read it first. Story 149. A day ago, I felt a shock of panic when I opened a dating space. Until that subsides, I have no intention of being in a relationship. It would be a possible death sentence otherwise. Story 150. I am not a standard attraction and am sometimes overly friendly. Story 151. I'm too awesome. Sometimes I try to be less awesome to get a boyfriend, but I can't, so I remain single. Story 152. I know my worth and what I deserve, and I'm done settling. Nowadays, nobody has anything to bring to the table. Story 153. I have high standards, but I cannot claim them if I am not where I want to be in life. I am improving first and dating later. I am 21 now. Story 154. It is not complicated. I suppose it might be for incels, but for those of us who have never asked anyone out, it is a pretty obvious result. Story 155. Because apparently my soulmate is still stuck in traffic. Story 156. I haven't found chemistry with anyone since my last relationship. Story 157. My last relationship was exhausting. I give up on guys just going on dates, no relationships yet, so easily at this point because I am not interested in putting in so much energy. I just want to be left alone in peace. Story 158. I do not know that many people. All my friends are people I have known for 4 to 6 years, so either I have already dated them or I am not interested in them. I am not interested in any of their other friends. I do not have a job and I am in online school right now, so I am not meeting new people. Story 159. I am passionate about animal rights. I am plus-sized, 5 feet 4 inches tall and 190 pounds, and I want a serious relationship, but at 23 it often feels like no one wants that. Story 160. I stopped caring. Relationships are too time-consuming and mentally draining. I'd rather be alone and enjoy the quiet, laughing out loud. Story 161. I simply chose to. In my opinion, the negatives severely outweigh the positives of being in a romantic relationship. Story 162. Because I put in no effort and am content on my own. Story 163. Because I value my peace more than the chaos of relationships. I'd rather stay free than gamble my sanity on love. It's definitely not worth it for me. Love sucks. Story 164. I choose not to go out. I rarely seek conversations with most women unless I have to. Story 165. The reason I am single is a mix of timing and standards. I do not want to date just for the sake of it. If it does not feel right, I would rather be on my own than force something. I have noticed I have become picky, not in a negative way, but because I know what energy feels good for me now, and I have no patience for half-hearted energy. Story 166. I do not put in the required effort to find a partner. I am perfectly content being single. Sometimes it does suck, but when I look at my friends' and sisters' relationships and see how much of a mess they are, I smile because I am not dealing with that. Story 167. I enjoy having the whole bed to myself more than I like most people I meet. Story 168. I am a very poor veteran and state pensioner with no money. Story 169. The more time I spend around people, the more I realize how much I love being by myself. Story 170. I am so shy about talking to new people, especially girls. That is why I am single. Story 171. Just being an Aries in general. I never received 100% of what I put into a relationship. That may be a delusional expectation, but relationships are rarely equal. I have zero tolerance for any form of disrespect. Story 172. I would mention my weight, but when I was skinny, I was also single. Maybe because I feel empty. I do not have the skill to keep a conversation, and I do not want to play mind games. I feel frustrated because people who are worse than me have families and homes. Story 173. I haven't tried enough. I'm sensitive and don't like rough or rude people. I've concluded that many people are like that. It's better to be single than to be constantly pushed around, belittled, or subjected to insinuations. Story 174. Standards, I guess. The thing is, I do not crave a life partner. I would enjoy having one if the person were truly compatible with me, but it is not a necessity. Therefore, I am not willing to lower my standards, which means the pool of men who would be options is not very large. It also means I am not actively looking at all. Story 175. United States dating culture shifted dramatically over the last decade because of coronavirus disease 2019, social media, Instagram, and dating apps. I am an old soul caught in a technological tidal wave that brings new opportunities and challenges, and I am struggling to keep up. Story 176. I am asexual because I was sexually assaulted 4 years ago. Because of this, I am not particularly trusting of men I do not know personally. I will be polite, but do not expect me to be open to a relationship right away until I have decided I can trust you. Story 177. I am mentally disturbed and afraid of others and disappointments. It does not help that he is not particularly attractive. Story 178. I gave up on trusting people. I talked to over 10 different women last year. They initially had different hobbies and personalities, but after about a month they all seemed to develop the same boring, promiscuous behavior, which I consider degenerate. In the last 3 months, 4 women wanted me to go out. Even though they were attractive, I stopped pursuing them. Of the 10 women, 3 cheated on their boyfriends with me, and 2 I dated cheated on me. Story 179. My moral standards are a little high, so I think that's why I am single. Story 180. I do not have anything to offer but undying love. Unfortunately, my job is not desirable. Story 181. I do not want to be single, but I would much rather spend a night wrapped up in bed reading or watching a movie than going out. Story 182. Like others, I am reclusive and keep to myself. I would have to actively put myself out there, and I do not. Story 183. I see through all the bullshit and I don't have the energy to sift through it. Story 184. I am waiting for him to knock on my door. I enjoy my own company so much. Story 185. I do not have time for this stupid thing. I tend to stay at home a lot. Story 186. I constantly feel like a placeholder. I have mental health issues, and I do not want that to be anyone's responsibility. I am too jaded to date. I am experiencing burnout from work. I have fertility issues, and starting a family would be a burden. I also need to allocate time to socialize, and I lack motivation. Story 187. I don't go out, and when I do, it's not to places where I can meet people. I'm shy and not interested in dating right now. Story 188. It's just too much hassle. I have work, very little time, and not enough money to spend on dating. I'm not very sociable and I lack confidence in my appearance. I do not have the energy, after dealing with my own responsibilities, to go out and try repeatedly. There is only so much rejection a person can take before they stop bothering. Expectations around dating today can feel over the top and unattainable. On dating apps and online platforms, you are competing with many people, and in the end you can give up. Story 189. Because I haven't been looking. Believe me, it's not a matter of looks. Even people who are conventionally unattractive get laid nowadays. But I need to go looking for it. I haven't been in the mood for that, to be honest. I don't know. I don't think I want any of that right now. Story 190. Not being interested in alcohol or in going out, and cultural taboos against approaching women. Story 191. Turns out I've been attracted to and dating avoidant men for about 30 years now. Story 192. I keep ignoring red flags. Men only seem to want me for my body, even when they say otherwise. It is disturbing, and I just want to hide. I do not even dress or act provocatively. Story 193. I have mental health problems that I do not want to saddle another person with. It would not be fair to ask them to deal with my issues in addition to their own from the start. Unfortunately, my medication reduces my sex drive, so I am not really missing out in that department. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.